सबू काम छाड़ी करे या ऊपर हमको फोकस कर एंड काली मॉर्निंग रे तो मुंगी जी आसे AWS's office I have a meeting there so then I can talk with all of you and find out ki सब सारी चीजें so काली मॉर्निंग सुधा so tomorrow I have a meeting in AWS's building at around where अच्छा ठीक है डजंट मैटर जोटी भी अपना बसंत तो करंतु तक मु खाली चेक करिबी अराउंड 11टा सुधा एपमान काम सरला अब राति रे बसंतु पूरा जेंती हेले ताकू लागी करंतु एटा सबुटो इंपोर्टेंट काम अछि एंड जो जिला ताकू कंप्लीट करिवे नहीं आई विल गिव इट वेरी एडवांस सो प्लीज मेक श्योर कि ताकू आप माने भलरे ताकू सार अच्छा जेजेएम रो विलेज आसीबो ताकू किछि एंट्री भी करिवार अछि ऑनलाइन एंट्री करिवार अछि तो व्हाट इज द स्टेटस ऑफ दैट थिंग के कहबे हाँ तो all of them are here ना so we can take whatever information is required so you saw na that day our figure was only 1 out of 830 the entry in the portal so that has to be also that has to be completed what, unless we do that it will not be counted हमें 80% जहाँ भी exercise करेबु सेटा count होबनी so ताको हमको जीरो करबा को पड़िबो जो एंट्री जोटी जोटी करबार अछि ताको करबा so JJM रे हमको करबार अछि and SBM रे we have to report to the GO is it that way
हेलो
but JJM we have to entry ourselves JJM रे हमको कोई एंट्री करबार अछि तो के करबे एंट्री JJM रो के करबे you can do you can take somebody and do and so they are here all 9 districts are here to get whatever data जहाँ data दरकार अछि को habitation कोठी अछि सब करे के आप माने दे दियंतु एटा एटा खाली हमको एक्सेल शीट नहीं ऑनलाइन एंट्री भी सारे कर अछि so you get all the data from them and make sure that it is done by at least tomorrow morning and it is सबुठो important काम हम पाखरे अछि आटो important आउ किछ and काली ही हमको जेमती मॉर्निंग सुधा एटा करबा so I wish you all the best भलरे करंतु if you have any issue you talk with our team and make sure that it is done अब काली मॉर्निंग रे मु निजे चेक करे सब जिला रो मु निजे चेक करेबी 100% सरला and जदि को जिला रे सरला नहीं then I will review it very ठीक है anything else any issue any problem regarding this thing ठीक है so all the best to the entire team and आप माने आज लागी करी जेमती आले काम सर I will maybe talk with you tomorrow morning ठीक है thank you
तो सिन्हा सर हम लोग चेक कर लेते हैं इसको।
ओके पाठक जी।
जी जी। So is this visible to everyone? Presentation?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
And the slides are moving now.
No, not yet.
Okay.
Slides are not moving.
Not now?
No,
No.
not.
Okay, let me share it again.
Just पता ही नहीं इसके क्या है। उनको दिन उनको दिया था हम नहीं आ रहे।
Is it moving, sir, now?
Not visible.
Not visible, not visible.
It is. Is this visible? I've
Yet
shared.
not visible. Not visible.
Not yet, not yet, not yet.
I'm sharing it again. Now it's there on screen.
No, it is not visible. It is coming blank. तो क्वेश्चन के लिए बोलने क्या
Sir, I'm trying to share my screen. Okay. Because it's not visible to other participants. Yeah. Okay. Okay, sir. I have called SPM Nivas. They are resolving it quickly.
Otherwise, we may request to Suranjit ji to share the screen.
I have called him, sir. He's resolving it.
Sir, we are here to share the screen. Don't worry, sir. In case it doesn't happen, we'll definitely share the screen, sir.
We had shared presentation with you with SPM Nivas. So if it can be operated from there, it will be great.
Okay, sir. We'll share. We can share. Mr. Pathak, please try again to share the screen.
Maybe once again, if you could just try.
Yeah, once again, because you are made a co-host, so maybe it will be possible now, or we'll share the screen.
Okay, let me try it.
Just try once, sir.
आप एक बार और कर लीजिए try. And then,
जी. So I have shared my screen.
but it is not coming.
Okay.
No, it is not working. Okay, let us share.
Yeah, sure. Please go ahead.
We are going to share.
Yes, we can see it now.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Gee, good
Can you
afternoon.
hear me? I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Now, probably the screen is the presentation is visible to all. So we are going to start the session today. And our advisor is Paksari is also there, and both the presenter, Dr. Asad Umair and Mr. Raj Singha is there. So today we are having a very important and very crucial topic on water sustainability to be presented by Dr. Asad Umar, Mr. R.S. Singha. Dr. Asad Umar works as a director of WAS. He has 23 years in WAS integrated water resource management by the European Union, UNICEF, and FCDO, and health in policy implementation, recharge, and technical support for major water supply and sanitation projects like Jal Jeevan Mission and Swachh Bharat Mission. He holds a PhD in hydrogeology and has published 19 papers on water supply, security, and sanitation, both in international and national level. He is a member of the Rural Water Supply Network and has received an international fellowship on groundwater governance in Asia. Representing the Akhan Foundation, he is currently involved with the Jal Jeevan Mission as a thematic partner on source sustainability. On the other hand, Mr. R.L. Sinha, a postgraduate in geology, is a senior groundwater expert. He has worked as a senior advisor to World Bank projects on groundwater and as a senior hydrologist in UP Jal Nigam. With over 40 years of experience in various fields of groundwater, he has many national and international publications. He is actively involved in designing groundwater recharge structures and drafting policies. In today's presentation, they will discuss the challenges, opportunities, and ways to improve the sustainability of groundwater sources under the Jal Jeevan Mission. We know that due to competing water demands, climate change, change in rainfall patterns, and very rainfall, the sustainability of groundwater sources is becoming unpredictable. This unpredictability threatens rural water supply services under Jal Jeevan Mission, especially in hard rock terrain that reduce the productivity and replenishment of aquifers. Groundwater development varies widely across different agroclimatic zones in our country. To achieve sustainable drinking water sources under the Jal Jeevan Mission, it is essential to use scientific method to find the correct location for artificial water recharge, water conservation activities, and rainwater harvesting. This webinar aims to provide a comprehensive plan to ensure long-term sustainability of water sources under the Jal Jeevan Mission. We are going to present this session in two parts. The first part, the presenter will make the presentation, and we hope that during presentation, no speaker will interfere. All are requested to keep their microphone off. After the presentation, we shall a interactive session for question and answer, and during that time, the participant can raise their hands electronically and can ask the question one by one. So, I present before you RSC. But before that, I'd like to our advisor, Mohammed Ishfaq sir, to speak words if he is there. Sir Ishfaq sir. Is here. Okay, sir may be busy somewhere. So let us start the session first, and sir will join me later. Thank you very much. Dr. Asad Umar sir and Mr. R.S. Sinha sir.
Thank you so much. Hope I am visible, Mr. Sanjeev. Thank you so much for providing this opportunity to share some of our thoughts and the broader contour towards ensuring source sustainability under Jal Jeevan Mission. We are going to make this presentation in two parts. Within in one section, I'll be dealing with some of the key challenges, issues, and the way forward and the opportunities that is available, as well as some of the scientific approaches that is being adopted. Whereas in part two of our presentation, our colleague Mr. R.S. Sinha, who is a sort of a well-known groundwater expert, is going to deal with some of the critical and practical aspects of water resource management, especially groundwater resource management, which is leading towards sustainability of drinking water. So in two parts, we are going to have this presentation. May I have the second slide, please? So if somebody can move the slide, that would be better. Yes. As we all know, I mean, in 2019, Jal Jeevan Mission was started, and within 4 or 5 years, we have made tremendous progress. As on date, our coverage is almost 77% in rural, under rural water supply, and that is not a mean achievement. There could be issues and in certain areas, especially in terms of sustainability part, in terms of functionality part, but otherwise, in recent past, this is one of the largest rural water supply scheme in the world, and we have made tremendous progress in last many years. But as we all know, I mean, ensuring water security and its long-term sustainability, it is critical for Jal Jeevan Mission. And Jal Jeevan Mission, by design, it is a program which is prioritizing water security to a greater extent. However, India is currently experiencing a significant water challenge. Recurring drought conditions, climate change related challenges, the competing water demands of groundwater for irrigation as well as for industrial and domestic water supply, especially in urban areas, are putting groundwater resources under tremendous stress. Approximately, as you just look at some of the data, it's quite scary. 820 million population of the country are almost having access to only are lower than 1,000 cubic meter, and that is the threshold limit, especially for a water scarce zone. So this is something that is a sort of worrying factor as far as India is concerned. But the other positive aspects for India is we are also experiencing a sort of better if we just look at the overall annual rainfall. So we are getting substantial rainfall, which clearly emphasizes that it is not an issue of the scarcity, but it is an issue of proper resource management. Now, report on dynamic groundwater resource. If we just look at the assessment unit, which is more than 6,500, almost 11 to 12% assessment units are overexploited, primarily in hard rock terrain. Almost 3% units are critical, and again, 11%, roughly 11% units are under semi-critical conditions. So that means overexploited is something that is really worrying, because here, whatever water every year we receive, we are withdrawing more than that. So this is something that is a kind of worrying factor. Now, well, Jal Jeevan Mission was actually designed, these factors were taken into consideration, and a comprehensive approach of source sustainability that was actually promoted and adopted as an integral part of design of any scheme under Jal Jeevan Mission, because primarily most of these schemes are, especially in village water supply schemes, they are groundwater based schemes. Therefore, right from beginning, and efforts were made actually to ensure sustainability of our water sources. Of course, in different parts of the country, there are various factors and various regions. Even I would also like to highlight here the Indian Himalayan region, the hilly terrain. This is also a kind of vulnerable zone. As you know, almost 3 million springs were actually supplying water for various purposes, right from irrigation to drinking purposes. And almost half of these springs have almost been disappeared. Therefore, even in hilly regions, which usually experiences a sort of good rainfall, in fact, we are experiencing during summer season a sort of water scarce situation. Next slide, please. So, in terms of opportunities, as I mentioned in my earlier slide, that as far as Jal Jeevan Mission is concerned, by design, it is trying to adopt a sort of approach where existing opportunities could be tapped. So, what are those existing opportunities? We all know, sitting and attending to this webinar, that Jal Shakti Abhiyan, launched a couple of years back, is one of the flagship campaign, especially around water conservation. So almost 150 water scarce districts are being identified, and the efforts are being made that how district level plans, especially water conservation plans, are developed to actually address water related issues. Another important initiatives, especially towards groundwater resource management, that was launched in recent years was Atal Bhujal Yojana. If you just look at Atal Bhujal Yojana, so this is primarily covering the northern and the western part of the country, primarily states like Haryana, Gujarat, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh are covered, and more than 8,000 gram panchayats. The whole idea is how we can develop a sort of good water security plan to sustain the requirement for different purposes. So this is another good opportunity that is available, and a lot more can be done to ensure even sustainability of our drinking water sources in the panchayats, in the villages where Atal Bhujal Yojana is under implementation. Now, another important program which I would like to highlight at this stage is Mission Amrit Sarovar, a unique program, especially to rejuvenate our surface water bodies. So in every district, almost 75 water bodies, how that can be rejuvenated. So this is another good, efforts which is leading towards a sort of better sustainability of our water resources. So these are existing opportunities just I'm trying to highlight. Now, prioritizing some of the efforts under Jal Jeevan Mission. So as you know, under Jal Jeevan Mission, geotagging of all groundwater sources are being done, and along with groundwater sources geotagging, there are also efforts and dedicated resources that has been allocated, though it is a smaller one, but for the sustainability of for the sources strengthening part under Jal Jeevan Mission. We all know, I'm not going to dwell much on that, but yes, MJNRGA is a kind of program that is actually, if properly planned and implemented, can go a long way to ensure sustainability of our drinking water sources. Next slide, please. Can we move to the next slide? Yes. So, couple of myths that is there when we talk about source sustainability. So whenever we talk about source sustainability, so most of the people, they just get the fact that if you have a sort of recharge pit, if you have some recharge structures, you are going to ensure sustainability of our drinking water sources. Of course, recharge pit water conservation activities are much more critical, but there is a sort of fine line between ensuring sustainability of rural water supply services and sustainability of a sort of our water resources. So when it comes to rural water supply services, so there are many more factors. So for example, one is, of course, the introduction of scientific planning along with participatory approaches. Delineation of even micro catchment area is something that is extremely important and critical. Now, water budgeting. As we all know, there are different methods of undertaking water budgeting. But yes, this water budgeting should have a sort of proper assessment of demand and supply side requirement. Now, quality standard, another fact that which I would definitely like to highlight here is the quality standard of drilling and construction of wells, well development, because these are certain critical steps that actually ensures a sort of long-term sustainability of our structures created to withdraw water. Then there are a couple of tests that is really important, especially towards aquifer characterization. It could be a step drawdown test to get a sort of optimal yield, especially in hard rock terrain, and also to avoid any kind of premature failure of our water source. Another important step which is really critical for us is source protection by integrating water safety planning approaches. As we all know, under Swachh Bharat Mission Phase 2, a lot of focus has already been given, especially to look at some of the aspects of grey water management or fecal sludge management. This is also something where at catchment level or even at source level, how you can actually ensure protection of our drinking water sources. Then another important aspect towards ensuring a sort of long-term sustainability is, in later slide, I will discuss a couple of points around that. But yes, groundwater monitoring is something there is need to have a sort of dedicated network of observation wells to actually look at the impact of pumping as well as impact of any recharge measures that has to be undertaken. Then capacity building of local institutions. On one hand, it is really important to look at the infra part, to look at the resources, but institutional capacity building so that at least at local level, the local institution at GP level, how they can actually plan and prioritize water conservation activities is something that is really, really important. And engaging with key stakeholders is also important. So we can move to the next slide. Now, two critical aspects I would like to highlight here. The typology listing of performance and governance factor related to evaluation of source sustainability. So one is, of course, the groundwater stock, then aquifer performance. Within aquifer performance, in fact, two aspects are quite critical: natural groundwater system, the recharge rate, the storage conditions, the water quality, the discharge rate, the environmental flow, the natural hazards and threats. So these are certain critical aspects that is directly linked with the natural aspects. I mean, the aquifer parameters and etc. Then infrastructure and system, whether the kind of pumping that is we are undertaking, the rate of injections, the monitoring part, the storage part, the treatment part, distribution of facilities, etc. So these are certain aspects which actually contributes towards a sort of good aquifer performance. Now, aquifer governance is equally important. So aquifer governance, as you all know, are two aspects that is here as in different states. Some states are having their groundwater acts, and certain states are also having groundwater policies or water policies. So legal and institutional framework is really important here, and as well as the societal values and performances and economic feasibility. So governance part and aquifer performance part is something that is ultimately leading towards a better source sustainability. Next slide, please. Yes. So this is an interesting slide. When we say source sustainability or water security, what does it mean, especially in context of drinking water? There are a few aspects which I have tried to highlight here is whenever we are having regular access to make use of water resources in longer term, the regular access in sufficient quantity of acceptable quality, and which is also reliable, resilience to any kind of natural disaster, and the services are affordable. So these different components are actually if these components are ensured, then actually we have a sort of sustainable drinking water access, which is equitable with which is in long-term sustaining. So regular access, sufficient quantity, quality, reliability, resilience, and affordability. These are critical parts of ensuring source and ensuring overall sustainability of services. Next slide, please. Yes. So this is an area. So I'll be just touching upon few critical components, but I would request Sinhaji to deal in more details during his presentation. But scientific planning along with participatory approaches are critical to ensure sustainability of drinking water sources. When we say scientific planning, so one of the critical factor is delineation of catchment area, which is much more important, and we do need a sort of different kinds of map, right from a district map to block map to topo sheets, HGM maps, etc., which and how we can actually identify or delineate our catchment area, and then developing different thematic map using different tools and techniques. Mapping and delineation of site-specific recharge structures. This is also something quite interesting and critical, which again needs a sort of bit of scientific planning. So one is, of course, we do need to have a sort of either micro catchment delineated area or even GP map, and then mapping of abandoned tube wells and mapping of any defunct tube wells, and then mapping of existing water bodies. These are different factors. If properly mapped, then that would lead to actually identification of either potential sources or potential recharge zone. Next slide, please. Now, again, these are certain important maps when we develop geospatial database. So developing thematic maps are much more important and critical to come with a sort of kind of drawing scientific inferences towards developing a prospective water development map or prospective identification of potential recharge zone. So geological map or the lineaments or the fractures are important. Then again, geomorphological map, hydrogeological map, and this is something that is really really important. Those who are familiar with hydrogeology, they would also agree that even a water table contour map gives you sort of a complete picture of a particular area. I mean, in terms of regional flows, local flows, whether a stream is contributing to groundwater or groundwater contributing to local streams, then groundwater troughs and mounds, and that gives you a sort of potential area of recharge or discharge. Then slope map and soil map, these are equally important map. When overlay through using GIS platform, overlaying these maps, then you get a sort of complete understanding of a sort of potential and prospective zone. Next slide, please. Now, this is something that is really really important. The generation of groundwater prospective zone map. So once you have a sort of water table map, and as in the previous slide, I have highlighted that lineament maps, geomorphology, geology, soil type, etc. That is important. Then drainage map, a delineation of water set, drainage density. All these informations are available. Then, if integrated using a GIS platform and overlay analysis is done, then you can get a sort of prospective groundwater zone. So you can identify a sort of good, moderate or poor zone where under water recharge can. Couple of things you'd like to highlight is that if in many areas you must have seen that if it is not properly done, the siting of any structure, if it is properly not done, then we do not get a sort of optimal benefit of those recharge structures. And one of the key reason behind this is that we fail to identify any subsurface dike or any subsurface barrier, or we fail to identify the kind of local or regional flow, and as a result it impacts sort of the overall outcome of any recharge activities. Therefore, on one hand, it is really important to identify the prospective groundwater zones, because then that is something, if properly done, then this would really be helpful to undertake water conservation and recharge activities. Next slide, please. Yes, so recently we have initiated a pilot in South Bihar, especially Nawada and Gaya districts. That's again a sort of hard rock terrain. So within that districts, the whole idea was how we can actually identify a sort of good, poor, moderate, or poor to moderate zone. So that has given us a sort of course, the area is primarily dominated by poor to moderate zone. But again, within those poor to moderate zone, there are possibilities to do a sort of micro level planning and then come up with a sort of recharge activities. But this particular area has given us a sort of, and this particular pilot has given us a sort of broader idea that which area is having better recharge potentials within that particular district. Next slide, please. Now, another critical aspects which I have briefly touched upon during my initial slides are actually the hydrogeological study, the hydrogeological assessment. Before mechanized abstraction of aquifer actually starts. So hydrogeological assessment is something that is really, really important. And there are two critical part to undertake that. One is the step drawdown test and aquifer performance test. Step drawdown test is something which is usually done for any water supply program to get a sort of optimal yield in a particular zone. Whereas aquifer performance test is something that is done to actually look at the some of the aquifer parameters, whether it is specific yield, storativity, or resistivity. These are critical components which actually gives you sort of better idea and the characterization of aquifers, whether a particular source well is really going to sustain on a longer basis, or there are possibilities for the well to dry up at an early stage. Now, full assessment of water sources in summer season is also something that is critical. If properly done, then you can also ensure a sort of long-term sustainability. Next slide, please. This is also something which I have highlighted in my initial slide. Is one is, of course, the participatory demand assessment, where community engagement, in other words, the participatory groundwater governance, is something which is really important. And in recent times, you might have seen the emergence of a particular approach called Jal Chopal in many areas, which is actually very helpful to analyze the situation, and then again to help the community to take up certain corrective measures through water conservation activities. But one of the critical factor along with participatory groundwater assessment is monitoring of groundwater. Groundwater monitoring is something that is extremely important, just to assess the impact on water availability due to pumping and recharge. It also encourages users to regulate water consumption. uh, uh, it can delay the early drying up of a bore well and sustain it for a longer time if properly the data is analyzed and then corrective measures are taken. Then a particular source well can last for a longer time duration. Predict water availability and save borewell clogging and pumping repairs caused due to drying up of the sources. Therefore, in any water supply program, it is really important and critical to ensure a sort of water level monitoring, on a local level, because that would then save the electricity, that would save your source well, that would also help you to plan in a better way about your water conservation activities. Next slide, please. We'll just quickly move here. Yes, as I have indicated in the earlier slide, that water safety planning, a risk assessment tool to ensure source protection and sustainability. This is something, if a water safety plan is integrated and becomes an integral part of any village action plan, then at least we can ensure a sort of good quality of water through sources. So this is basically a sort of catchment to consumer-based approach, how you can actually protect your catchment, how you can also protect to your source. So hazardous events and risk assessment around those hazardous events. So it could be geogenic contaminants. As we all know, many parts of the country are having issues around of fluoride, arsenic, or iron. So if it is identified in a planning stage, then definitely we can take corrective measures. Then fecal matters leaching out from different sources and contaminating to our groundwater. Then drawdown of groundwater because of excessive pumping. Even in many cases, this geogenic contaminants that is caused due to excessive pumping. Then hazardous events in case of if the source is surface water. In that case, again, why this better integration of Swachh Bharat mission with Jal Jeevan mission is required, because solid and liquid waste management, grey water management, etc., if properly done, then also we can protect our catchment area. Therefore, integration of water safety planning is something that is really critical and important. In fact, in Uttar Pradesh, a few years back, we did a sort of comprehensive study around water safety planning, and we also submitted a position paper why it is critical and important to actually integrate water safety planning with larger water security measures. Next slide, please. Yeah, again, these are some of the we are trying to actually demonstrate, and of course we are not the one, but there are many other. So in different parts of the country, they have adopted and successfully demonstrated that why scientific plannings are critical, and how you can actually get a sort of optimal outcome through a scientific planning for any recharge activities. So, for example, the whole idea behind our Gaya and Nevada pilot was to do a sort of participatory as well as scientific planning in a particular area, then identify a sort of potential recharge zone, then undertake recharge activities. So accordingly, we are trying to ensure a sustainability of drinking water sources, and by post monsoon we should be able to present a sort of clear report in terms of overall impact. But based on the other similar studies and pilots, it can conveniently be concluded that yes, if proper planning is done, then definitely you can ensure sustainability of drinking water sources, even some of the toughest terrain or even hard rock terrain. Next slide, please. Yes, this is the last slide, and the overall source sustainability framework from drinking water perspective. So, right from almost all the points I have already covered, but yes, comprehensive communication campaign to facilitating a sort of scientific planning processes, to undertaking recharge activities, to integration of water safety plan, and introduction of real-time water table tracking, and then center staging women, and then undertaking even source sustainability measures once a scheme is commissioned. Now, there are a couple of risk assessment that is really, really important that one should actually undertake. It is one is, of course, availability of water, then quality of water, source protection. These are important aspects, and then institutional capability to plan and implement any water conservation activities, and then equitable access of water. If these aspects are taken up properly, then one can develop sort of robust water security plan, especially to sustain and ensure sustainability of our drinking water sources. Next slide, please. Yes. So, by and large, in the first part, I have just tried to give an overview of different approaches, which is actually important to ensure better sustainability of our drinking water sources. My effort during this, the initial part was to actually highlight a couple of factors. One is not only, I would really appreciate if somebody can, because we are getting some disturbance, please mute yourself. So the idea is it is not only water conservation measures, but there are many other factors which is responsible. So whether it is a proper scientific study, whether it is a source protection part, whether it is water monitoring part, performance test, well development, etc. Those are also critical to ensure long-term sustainability of our drinking water sources. I would just stop here, and now would like to invite Shri R.S. Sinhaji for his presentation, and also share his experiences and on the technical aspects and the prospective recharge, which is actually needed to ensure long-term sustainability of our drinking water sources built under Jal Jeevan Mission. Over to Sinhaji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Akaji. You have covered almost all the aspects, giving a broader overview of groundwater resources. Now, I will limit myself how we should proceed. What should be our approach to manage and to sustain our groundwater sources, ultimately to achieve the drinking water challenges, drinking water sustainability. As the topic says, the main objective is how we should achieve this goal of source sustainability under Jal Jeevan Mission. This is a huge task because there are so many challenges, although there are opportunities also, but how should we proceed? What should be the realistic approaches, and how we should find out some sustainable solutions. You see, the main, since groundwater is one of the major contributor under Jal Jeevan Mission, but the main challenge is its invisibility. The source is invisible. There are so many techniques. We try to find out what is the availability, what type of aquifers, what are the characteristics of those aquifers, how we should go for the development, how should we manage it, how should we protect it. But still, groundwater changes its behavior from place to place. And this is a major challenge to manage groundwater. And groundwater is basically is a very significant part of our water cycle. We cannot ignore water cycle, how water cycle is behaving, and major factor is rainfall, because the major one of the major contributor to groundwater is rainfall. About 15% of rainfall in general, not because it changes from place to place. 15%, 16% of rainfall that precipitates and augment our groundwater sources. And other parts like evaporation, enhancing soil moisture, and to maintain the e-flows of rivers, this is all dependent on groundwater, rainfall. And secondly, when rainfall is becoming erratic, our task is becoming difficult to protect, to manage groundwater. And secondly, the groundwater is a source which has being used in almost all development sectors like irrigation, drinking water, industries, commercial activities, infrastructure development, this fisheries, and so many sectors are there which are dependent on groundwater. So next, please, next slide, please. So when we are planning how to sustain our drinking water sources, there are some important steps. We should, suppose if our target area is a village, we should prepare a checklist, because the data, the secondary data, is very, very important. How we should take up the future activities, what should be our approach. And for that, collecting baseline information is very, very important. Before we go for any intervention, the baseline information that includes what is the water level there before the start of the project, what is the lithology, what is the topography. There are so many field related data, what is the soil type, because this is all important when we go for this any recharge activities or any restoration activities. So basic understanding of groundwater and aquifers, that is very, very important, because what we see, suppose we are drilling a well up to 100 meters, and we propose recharge activities which cannot compensate what we are extracting from 100 meters or beyond that. So that has to be find out what are the tubers at which depth it has been constructed. So aquifers, there are a number of types of aquifers. Suppose we, next please, next please, next slide please. Then we have next please. You see, if we see the entire country, Central Groundwater Board has demarcated 42 major types of aquifers. And all these aquifers, they have diversified characteristics, different availability scenario, storage is different, and how we should manage these aquifers, that the whole approach will be different. So this is the major important aspect when we go for this Jal Jeevan mission, because in the northern, like UP and Bihar, we have major part is alluvium, and almost south is southern peninsular tract. Geologically, that is very difficult task, very difficult terrain, and alluvial terrain is also very complicated because there are multiple type of aquifers. We have almost in UP and Bihar, we have almost 3 to 4 aquifer groups down to the depth of 800-900 meters. Or all these aquifer groups, they have different characteristics. So we should know what is the potential of aquifers, how our tubewell will sustain, what sustainable approaches should be adopted to make the resource sustainable. So these are some major challenges. Next, please. Now, this is the area which assumes greater significance, because groundwater is always, whether it is related to the development of groundwater or whether it is related to the restoration or recharge of groundwater or conservation of groundwater. This is an area specific activity, or our assessment should be area specific for source accessibility. The first and foremost is that how is the topography? Topography means the area is a plain, it has a gradient, it is slopey, it has a hilly terrain, and land use is also very important. Soil profile, rainfall pattern. Rainfall pattern is very important, because without studying the rainfall pattern, we cannot derive our interventions. How much source water is available, how we can plan it, because pattern of rainfall is entirely now that has changed. We can get it for 10 days, whole rainfall, we can get it for 20 days. So you have to evolve your exercise, your activities in according to the pattern of rainfall. Drainage and streams and the fluvial morphology. This is very important area, because every drainage, either it is groundwater fed or it is recharging groundwater. Mostly in alluvial tract, even in peninsular India, most of the rivers, they are groundwater fed. And where groundwater level is going down, so the base flow that has reduced, and that is the main cause why rivers are not having their original flows. So when we think of a comprehensive strategy, the drainage and the streams, they are very important, because as Mr. Asas has said, that catchment is very important. The basin of that area, that has to be studied, because unless you do not know the natural boundary, all the activities cannot yield the desired results. Secondly, the water bodies, existing water bodies, are they how are still they are already saturated, or they are tied up? What are the reasons we should take into account? How we should restore it or rejuvenate it? And another point is hydrogeology, lithology, and geomorphology. These are interconnected issues, and they are very, very important when we think of sustaining our resources. What is the pattern of current groundwater extraction and their uses? What are the past changes in groundwater levels, resource? What is the resource potential? So at village level, this exercise is not so easy because the network of our piezometers monitoring station is not at village level. Mostly one block usually has 5 or 6 piezometers of groundwater monitoring stations. So the local data, the local knowledge has to be tried to, we should evaluate what is the local water level behavior, what is changing over the time. So these are the some information which is essentially required when we plan for a effective source sustainability. And the last is groundwater quality status. This is very, very important because suppose we plan pipe water supply and water quality is not good, then how we should go for the construction of tube well? Which status should we test? And suppose surface water is not available, also not available there, then challenge becomes more because in quality is still, I should say, is in neglected area. We do not have a comprehensive picture of groundwater quality. There are two types of, you are all are aware. One is geogenic natural groundwater quality issue, and secondly is man-made or anthropogenic activities. So these two factors, they are very, very important when we think of supplying water or restoring our resources. Next, please. Now, when we come to for the final, what should be our approach? How we should achieve the sustainability resources? So there are multiple methods. First, we should think about what quantity of surplus monsoon water is runoff is there. We should calculate, and accordingly, we should try to harvest this rainwater as surface storages, because this is very, very important. Surplus monsoon runoff. We usually do not calculate this surplus runoff, monsoon runoff in any area. This is a general. We take up the average rainfall for 50 years, 20 years, and we plan a proposal. But actual calculation of surplus monsoon runoff is very, very important if we actually want to efficiently, effectively harvest the rainwater. Next is identification of suitable groundwater recharge measures. This is very, very important because first we should identify which aquifer we are going to recharge, because this is very challenging. Suppose we adopt subsurface matters like check dams or like ponds, they will recharge or augment only the shallow aquifers. And if we are taking groundwater from a deeper source, like 100-meter deep aquifer or beyond that, then this intervention, how it will be beneficial for the sustainability of resource. This is a major challenge, because normally whatever activities we are currently taking up, they are only recharging the dynamic aquifer. And for this groundwater extraction, we are drilling tube wells down to the depth of 100 meters or beyond 100 meters, mostly in alluvial areas like UP, like Bihar, like Haryana, Punjab, and other areas. So this is very, very important. What is our target? Which area we want to recharge? Suppose we have to recharge a deeper aquifer, then you have to go for some study like whether the aquifers are leaky aquifers, they are interconnected or not. This study is very, very essential for identifying the suitable groundwater recharge measures. Otherwise, they are conventional methods like ponds, percolation tank, depending upon in hard rock areas, we have discontinuous or fractured aquifers. We do not know what is the extension of this this discontinuous aquifer. They are local. They are in localized pockets. They are dominated by fractures and the weather zones. So overall, until or unless we are not aware what sort of our aquifers are there in that particular area, so the main target should be to identify the type, which aquifer we want to augment. Only then we should go for identifying the recharge measures. This is the third is integrating water efficient measures, because aquifer in an area we are here more concerned about sustainability of our drinking water resources, but the same aquifer is being used for irrigation purposes, for industrial purposes. So how we can manage? So that means we should find out the extension of aquifer. What are the main user sectors which are drawing the groundwater from the same aquifer? Then we should go for some water efficient measures. We should integrate them, like achieving water sustainability in water efficiency in our agriculture practices. This is very, very important. How should we use this recycle and reuse in industries? So these are some water efficient measures. We should integrate those measures with our this sustainability of resource, because aquifer is same, and we cannot overlook that other sectors are also using. Suppose you go for some measures, so that will and we are extracting multiple sources. They are extracting groundwater from the same aquifer. How we will manage it? So whole our approach will not yield the desired results. Secondary, and the fourth is monitoring implementation of proposed work. This is very, very important. Whatever measures we plan to execute or implement, the monitoring of implementation is very, very important. What we have observed, what we design on paper, it is not implemented on the field. What are the main hydrological parameters, whether they are being followed or not? So implementation, monitoring of implementation of proposed works is very, very important. There should be some mechanism for it. And the most important point is establishing impact assessment and groundwater level monitoring system. This is very, very important. Even in baseline information, we should have some monitoring network system, so we can compare after 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, what changes are occurring, because groundwater level. And secondly, this is very important when we are extracting water from a deeper depth. That changes on water level, how we manage. It means we need some deeper piezometers also there, some shallow piezometers and some deeper piezometers, so that relative changes we can find out. And this is very, very important for impact assessment also. And the most important part is the mandatory provisions for maintenance mechanism. Usually what we are observing, that suppose we carry out an activity of rooftop rainwater harvesting, if it is not maintained, after 2 or 3 years, it becomes different. Same cases with check dam and other like ponds and other structures also. So regular maintenance should be the integral part of each and every plan. So these are some important features which need to be integrated with all this activity. Thank you.
No, thanks, Sena Sahab. I think just a couple of things I would like to again add what you have mentioned in your presentation. So, I mean, ultimately, the overall outcome of any source sustainability or water security measure uh, is to actually ensure sustainable groundwater management that will meet the water supply need of the present population and future generation without impacting the environmental concerns. So, this is actually some of the broader contour of water management we really wanted to share. But one important point which during this webinar, I am taking this opportunity to share that as well. So many of you must be aware that last year Ministry has also come up with a sort of standard operating uh, procedure, especially on source sustainability. And some important steps which SOP has actually given is something, this is available in public domain, but yes, some important steps that is there, which I would like to highlight here is uh, some 6 to 7 steps are there. So as Sinaji has already mentioned that, and some of the points I'm going to repeat again, but this is because these are systematic steps that is given. So it's really, really important to highlight those steps as well. So one is basically the collection of basic information, including geotagging of both, I mean, water sources as well as the potential recharge structures and other basic informations, right from population to livestock population to other activities within that region. Then assessment of this is also again a repetition which we have highlighted in our presentation, but that's step number 2. That's quite critical and important, is assessment of demand and supply. This whole aspects of water budgeting. So there are a number of steps that is actually adopted or promoted to undertake water budgeting. If you just go by what Central Water Board has promoted, so this is called GEC norm. So it is basically dependent on area into a specific yield into water level fluctuation. And of course, there are a number of parameters. Then there are crop water demand requirement. That's another type of water budgeting. And the third and the important one, if you just look at the guidelines within drinking water, then the overall assessment and the requirement of water supply and the possible gap, if that is there, then what sort of measures that need to be taken up. So this is something that is a critical step. Then risk assessment of villages. So risk assessment in many aspects. It could be right from the annual rainfall that usually we receive, and then the slope pattern, and then again the level of contamination that is expected within that particular catchment area. So a comprehensive risk assessment, this is also something that we have covered in our presentation. And then uh, drinking water source sustainability measures. Now, drinking water source sustainability measures, it ranges from, I mean, rooftop rainwater harvesting to taking conventional methods of recharge. When I say conventional method, it means the most of the water conservation and recharge activities that is undertaken within watershed approaches. And then non-conventional methods, especially in hard rock terrain. Say, for example, arresting base flow in a sort of a stream through construction of subsurface dikes, etc., or even bore blast, or even hydrofracturing. Those are certain measures in past have successfully shown that yes, through these measures, at least uh, uh, supply and the overall availability and access of groundwater can be increased. Then source protection, this is also something that we have already covered, and groundwater monitoring. Any measure which is taken, and even my presentation and Senhaji also have highlighted this groundwater monitoring, how it is important, because in each and every Gram Panchayat, it is really critical to have at least a couple of observation wells. And observation wells are not something which we have to separately create. We can, in almost all locations, we will find India Mark II hand pump, and India Mark II hand pump would be one of the best observation structures for us. And that would give us a sort of sufficient idea about the kind of water that is, water table trend that is there, the kind of impact that any recharge measures or structures are creating. So this is something that is that is quite important. And then water quality monitoring is also something that we should be taken up on a regular basis. So these are some of the critical steps that is given in the SOP, and it's a crisp and a brief document. And I'm sure that particular document would definitely help to actually at least to create a sort of better understanding on the critical steps that is required to ensure a sort of better sustainability of our drinking water sources. We'll just stop here, and if there are questions, we'll be happy to take up those questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much from SPM Nivas. As you know, it is a very premier institution, and we are trying to disseminate the knowledge across the country with amongst all the stakeholders. And in today's session, we are taking a very important and very crucial topic. In fact, it is a lifeline for Jal Jeevan Mission, the source. So we are you have given some insight on the issue, and now the session is open for discussion and question. I request the participants to raise their hand electronically before raising their questions. And advisor side is also there. If you wish to comment, you can comment on this presentation also. So Mr. Amital Haldar, he want to ask some question. Mr. Haldar.
Yes, sir. So we know everybody that in the urban areas, the pumping of tube well, sometimes it is 18 hours or beyond that. Now, keeping in present scenario, the rainfall is getting decreased year by year in most of the area, including Gangetic Plain and the hard rock areas. So this heavy obstruction of groundwater, how it is damaging the aquifer. We have a lot of discussion on the safe aquifer and the no aquifer loss. A lot of things are there. Now, in this context, what the learned speaker want to say? I want to know. This is my first question. What are the remedial measures, or what are the optimum things that we should pass on the message to the concerned department so that they can take place the precautionary measure?
Sanjay,
Yes.
would you like to take?
Yes.
Based on your Lucknow experiences, I think it would be.
Yes, I'm
Sure,
from
sure.
Lucknow.
Yes, Dr. Haldar.
Yes.
For Lucknow,
Yes, dear.
we are experiencing a huge obstruction, which has caused almost all threshold. You are right that way. So we have proposed some very important recommendations. This include the phasing out of tube wells from the city to the peri-urban areas, because there are certain pockets where we can install battery of tube wells and bring the water from there, import the water from there. Secondly, the major recommendation is how the way the Lucknow is expanding, and to provide groundwater, it is becoming very, very difficult, because we are already, the phreatic aquifer has almost dried up. Now we are puncturing aquifers down to the depth of 200 meters, 150 meters and beyond that. And this is not good, because there are a number of troughs they have already developed within and the clay layer is changing into plasticity. So this is very, very challenging issue. Second is this, what we are focusing. This is a very, very important policy. It will be a very important policy decision. If we bring water from the Sharda River, we should try to import, because in Gomti we do not have adequate water. Katota Jheel, which is dependent on Sharda Sahayak, it is also not able to augment the city supplies. And we have what Jasalsan is mentioning, they are extracting 360 or 400 million liter of water per day. But as per our analysis, we have made a survey in last March. Around 1800 million liter of water we are extracting in industries, in commercial activities, in multi-story buildings, in hotels, malls. There are different users. They are extracted because there is no regulatory mechanism. There are about more than 1 lakh of submersible domestic borings in Lucknow city. So these are some areas which need some strong policy intervention, some strong policy decisions.
Yes, Sinha Sahab, you are right. We know each other, everything. It is not the scenario only in Lucknow. In other areas are also
Yeah, yeah.
prevailing or experiencing the same experience. So it has to, just like that, you are mentoring the groundwater action group in UP, and you are trying to send the message in different forum and different, that stage. What should we do, and what are the urgent need, as well as the Groundwater Act is also is in action in UP. Of course, it requires some more functionalities, but this is, and we should also send the message to the community that whatever may be the situation and urban areas sprawl might be there, either number of boreholes to be increased in the appropriate areas, and so that vis-a-vis the extraction should be limited maximum by as per limit, say maybe 8 to 12 hours. So this is from my side, sir.
And that's fine.
And Sinha Sahab, second question is to you. That is, you have talked a lot regarding the sustainability in other area, especially UP and other area. So my apprehension is for Agra and Mathura and adjoining, even in UP and in Rajasthan also, that Bharatpur and other areas where the saline dominated waters are quite prevailing. Even in deep aquifers, they are in pressure, so that they are coming as an artesian. Those are also topside aquifers are there, very highly saline are there. So how could I maintain the sustainabilities in such areas, especially for a freshwater point of view? Can you please?
Not only saline water, but fluoride contamination in Agra is also quite alarming.
Yes.
So these are issues. That's why we are continuously suggesting that there should be we should finalize some interventions on the basis of the area-based problems. What are the problems in particular area, like say Agra and Mathura? We should design our interventions according to the availability of the source, because groundwater availability is getting depleted day by day. As you say, in Noida, in Ghaziabad, everywhere the resource is depleting. And secondly, what we have found since 2017 to 2023, there are four assessments, and in all the 4 assessments, their dynamic recharge. There are 2 sets of dynamic recharge. One is from the rainfall, and second is from the other sources. So for last 5 or 8 years, this rainfall recharge is depleting. In 2017 assessment, in 2000 assessment, in 2022 and 2023, groundwater recharge through rainfall is continuously decreasing. This is very, very alarming. So we have to plan out accordingly how we should proceed. Until and unless we evolve some surface water based interventions, it is difficult to cope up with the present scenario of groundwater.
Sinha Sahab, also one suggestion in this context is that I do not know whether it could be thought or not. That say in coastal belt, say in Gulf countries, Dubai and other places, they are using this saline water. So for the after having certain desalination. So why don't you think in India, in such type of places that are there, we can abstract the this saline water, and we can use for certain cultivation or we can abstract the salt from there and it could be used. It may be some high cost basis that. So why don't we think in this line also?
And because Asaji is sitting here and people from JLM, they can think because in UP we have a very, very long saline belt starting from Agra, Ghaziabad to that goes up to this Gazipur. So
Asaji, I want to come in. Asaji, I want to come in if you are.
Yeah, please, sir. Please, yeah, please.
This is a very, very important question. In fact, the situation which Mr. Haldar is explaining, I think it is everywhere, wherever paddy is there or some other water guzzling crops are there. Instead of thinking of bringing the saline water there, what we can think of is changing the agronomy, agriculture practices. We should shift the cropping pattern to the crops which are using less water. This is one issue. Then we can think of launching a campaign. For example, I don't know whether it is now in prevalence or not. Few years back, government of Madhya Pradesh, they launched a scheme called Khet Ka Pani Khet Mein. So they encourage the farmers to dig out the small ponds inside
Farm
ponds, and they ensure the rainwater is harvested. It helps the farmer in two ways. Number one, they were able to harvest the rainwater. Number two, it prevented the sheet flooding, because when there is a heavy rain, so there is a sheet flow of heavy rainfall water which flows towards the low-lying area or maybe drain. So it damages the crops. But if there are a number of farm ponds in the farms of the farmer, it checks the flow of that water also. So we have to think of such innovative suggestion, and for that the support of the Agriculture Department, Government of India, and the state government, and then of course
the issues again.
Department is also required. But this is a multidisciplinary solution.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
the demand on the drinking water is very less. The main demand of the groundwater is for the agriculture side. This we have to understand. So any solution which is related to groundwater need a concurrence and the convergence of the Agriculture Department and Water Resources Department.
Definitely, sir. Definitely. I mean, there are a couple of aspects. One is Mr. Hadar has also highlighted that this is whole challenge around inland salinity. I mean, right from areas in Haryana and Uttar Pradesh to Rajasthan to Gujarat, we do have inland salinity as well as coastal salinity. And these are limiting factor. And then again, these geogenic contaminants. These are limiting factor for access of safe and sustainable drinking water. That is one aspect. The second, sir, I mean, somewhere we also need to bring in this whole aspects of climate change within our water resource management conversation, because climate change, one of the key aspects of climate change is change in rainfall intensity. So as Mr. Sinha has also highlighted that now if we just look at the water table pattern, so day by day it is decreasing. So it is not only because of the less rainfall, but also because of the change in intensity. We have a sort of high intensity rainfall in a very short duration of time. Now, if you do not have required structures to actually tap those extra flows, then definitely it is not going to recharge our groundwater, and we will have a sort of declining trend of water table. So these are certain aspects that we really need to look into it, and I completely agree, sir, with you. Water resource management is a much wider subject. Integrated water resource management is something that needs a sort of concurrence from other users, especially the agriculture, because almost 80% of water is something that is being used within that sector. So therefore, I think larger issue is again around efficient utilization of available resources, because sir, we also need to understand the fact that at the moment India is the biggest exploiter of groundwater. Maximum groundwater is being exploited in India, and that therefore regulatory mechanism is also something that should go hand in hand. And if you just look at this one pager that we have distributed, so one particular takeaway from this particular webinar that we have mentioned, that there is a sort of huge potential in an approach where a mix of implementation of regulatory mechanism, empowering the community to understand their local water resources, and harnessing the terrain-specific technology would go a long way in ensuring source sustainability. I think this is something that sums up the overall approach. Regulatory mechanism is important. Empowerment of local institutions and community are critical, and at the same time, some of the latest tools and techniques, whether it is remote sensing based GIS, we do have hydrogeomorphological maps that is available. That is also something can be used to identify sort of potential recharge zones, etc., etc. If that is properly undertaken, then definitely we can go a long way to ensure sustainability. But these are some real challenges, sir, and the kind of investment that has gone into Jal Jeevan Mission, it really requires a sort of sustained and a sort of a terrain-specific approach to ensure sustainability of our water sources. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Asad sir, for your clarification.
I think Mr. Amrita Haider want to say something. Mr. Amrita Haider want to say something. Mr. Amrita, you want to say something?
Do you have to say something on this discussion, please? Okay. No, I've seen Mr. Ishwar Jain sir was there raising his hand. Jain sir, are you there? Okay, probably he's okay.
Yes,
Dr.
sir.
Dinesh,
Yes, sir.
yeah,
I'm speaking from Rajasthan.
okay,
There is a
please.
district called Jodhpur, and Jodhpur rural area is facing acute drinking water problem because of the groundwater level is turned to 1200 to 1300 feet depth. We are not able to pump the water. Very little discharge we are getting. It is a total rocky formation. How many years it will take to recharge this aquifer? The groundwater is very much less. Rainfall is also 300 mm to 400 mm. What is the fate of this area?
Sena sir, would you like to respond first?
I think this is a very vital and very critical question, because everywhere in this Rajasthan, you say we are sitting on alluvial aquifers in Lucknow, we have rich aquifers, but situation is changing. Now, though, what Asasa was mentioning, we should now go for some aquifer-wise. Our approach should be managing groundwater or groundwater that should be aquifer-based. There should be there because there are multiple users. We are focusing on drinking water, or other we are focusing on irrigation water. So how we will regulate, or we can find out the ways to recharge, to recover, to restore these aquifers, because ultimately the restoration of aquifers, like restoration of rivers, restoration of ponds, restoration of aquifers is very, very a complex exercise. It will involve multiple steps. Like we should start reducing our extraction. Secondly, we should go for augmentation of aquifers along with the recharge and recycle wateration measures. There are multiple approaches which should be combined, and the users, there should be a policy to extract groundwater according to the availability of resource within that particular aquifer. This aquifer can be in a pocket size of very small size. It can extend up to miles together. So now the time has come that we should identify our aquifers. We should name them. What is the potential of that particular aquifer? And accordingly, we should devise, we should evaluate our need, our demand, and accordingly, we should go for the supply side based on the groundwater. So aquifer-based management is very, very important. As I have already mentioned, there are 42 types of aquifers. All have different characteristics. Transmissivity, the lateral flows, the vertical flows in the aquifers, they are different. Secondly, in alluvial aquifers, you see the main constant is in UP, we have fine sand. Fine sand has a limited recharge capacity and limited storage capacity and limited yield capacity. So these are some vital issues, whether it is a case of Rajasthan or Gujarat or UP. Everywhere we are crossing the threshold, which should be the basic approach how we should counter these issues, how we should resolve these issues, what are the challenges. So this is all comprehensive. But one thing Mr. Ashad was saying about integrated water resource management. Now there is a need. We should focus on this area specific integrated water management. It should
Yes, sir.
include surface water, the aquifer-based supplies, and other sources.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Just one point I would like to add here, especially in case of Rajasthan and that too in Jodhpur, because I had an opportunity almost 20 years back to work extensively in Badmer region. So it is a quite complex area, and inland salinity is something that is really, really critical. But one thing that really gives me a lot of hope is traditional knowledge and wisdom. The way people are actually tapping their surface water resources, this whole concept of Nadi and Tanka is something that is sustaining water availability for months actually especially in summer seasons. So I mean, on one hand, of course, looking at the scientific measures, looking at some comprehensive planning processes is something that is important. But at the same time, Rajasthan actually have taught the traditional ways of water conservation, water protection to the country. So therefore, I think those traditional knowledge and wisdom that must be utilized, and we should not abandon those things. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So thank you very much. Now we'll move to Dr. Dinesh Chand. Dinesh Chandra sir is there, raising his hand. I have seen him.
Yeah.
Chandra sir,
My question for Dr. Asad. It is my experience when we visited JJM schemes as expert. We have impaneled 70, 80 fellows, all retired fellows. And I feel first they went to go for house connections. And hurriedly they got house connection also, as is appreciated by everybody in the country. And everybody is very happy. Now question in some means majority of the scheme, the water resources problem, the quantity and your sustainability, you can say initially there were much problem for supplying 55 liters to every household, every per capita per household. And with the time, there is a decline. Now, state government is searching for new sources again and again. So it is a repetition of the work done earlier as a short of quantity. Now my question, because you are in the field, you said in Bihar and UP you have worked and Rajasthan also. What you suggest that JJM scheme should adopt some major technologies, or you can say remedies, to protect source, number one. Number two, to protect the quality and quantity. And third one, how to enhance those existing sources by way of water recharging structures, or you can say water storage, or whatever you call it. It is basically enhancing the quantity. So you have something for commonly adopting situation, like you can say is a alluvial strata, and you can go for these technologies essentially, where Jal Jeevan Mission can see the program over the country to implement it with some new program, maybe new program I will suggest, because it is a need of the hour.
No, thank you so much, sir, for your question, and good to see you on this webinar.
Thank you very much.
After a long time, actually, I'm interacting with you, sir. If you recall, during your days with the ministry, on a
Yeah.
regular basis. We are interacting on some of the quality issues and also on the quantity issues. I mean, sir, to be
Even a
very honest,
sanitation also.
especially, yeah,
Even a sanitation.
yeah,
Take
exactly,
the
exactly.
child.
True,
I
true,
think
true,
where
true.
there we
Yeah.
met also
Yeah,
many
yeah,
times.
exactly,
Yes.
exactly, sir.
Thank you.
So to be very honest, sir, I mean, there is no short techniques and technologies are concerned, sir, who knows and you.
Yes, please.
In fact, you have technologies. Not about it. Low sort of, but
There is a voice problem.
Not able to hear, sir.
There might be some technical issue because we are not hearing Dr. Asad Umar properly. There might be some technical issue.
So it's all right.
Let us wait a little bit if they can resolve the issue. Dr. Asad Umar sir, that Mr. R.S. Sinha sir. There may be some
Okay, sir,
technical issue.
should I actually I was talking to somebody else. So are still be in a Q&A session or is it over?
Still going on. Some question answer session was going on, sir.
Okay.
But
Sir,
there is some
can I have-
technical issue which Dr.
can I
Asad Umar
have-
sir.
Advisor Saab, can I have some statements, please? I want to have a question.
Please ask the question. You're free to ask.
Okay, please. So just now I will switch off my video because there may be drop in my voice. Therefore, I am going to switch off my video. Sir, now up till now, JJM as a last connectivity. I think I'm audible. I'm audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible. Yes, sir, you are audible.
Sir, in JJM, the last connectivity or the last person to be given is a house or a tap connection. Sir, so far I heard a very good technical or scientific or area wise or catchment wise details. I am very much helpful. It is a very good exposure, sir. I am Raghavendra, retired chief engineer from Karnataka Urban Water Supply and Drainage Board, sir. But my concern is now I have given a connection to each and every house. To be precise, in India, what the Google gives around 6,40,930 villages are there. And if I consider habitations, it may go up to 8 lakhs or 9 lakhs habitations. My point is out of 8 lakhs or even say the sticking to the 6,40,930 villages, considering each one borewell in a village, now the JJM's mission, something like this should be to have a sustainable borewell, at least one for the village. My study point should be like that only, and make that it should be studied and see that it is recharged sufficient quantity what is assessed should be available from that borewell. So either recharge, reuse, how we are going to do, we have to do it, sir. So now, once the connection is given, it is to be assured with the water. That is as per the JJM goals. If we don't, if we cannot do it, if we cannot deliver each and every borewell for a village is not going to give the water, then the mission fails. So therefore, my suggestion is how to take up, how whether first of all we have to monitor, then recharging, way of recharging, and then so there are, we can say there are two ways of recharges, one natural, that is rainwater, and then this other ways of reusing, how to reuse the water already used. Please, can anyone can elaborate on this? I am happiest, and my subsequent questions will be there, sir.
There may be some technical issues with us. Yeah. Yeah. R.S. Singha sir is there.
Yeah, I am here.
Okay. Can you respond to the Mr. Raghavendra sir? Because Asad sir has logged out because of some issues.
Which area you are specifying, Mr. Raghavendra? Which district, state? And please unmute.
Raghavendra sir is asking something to you.
1 second, sir. I am not specifying any area, sir. I am specifying throughout India map, sir. India geographical area, sir. Because there are 6,40,390 villages are there. Now in each and every village as a last connectivity under JJM, we are given the tap connections. Whether it is, if it is borewell, even if the very considerately considering 50% of these habitations or villages are connected with single village, single borewell as a source. Now, if we want to sustain this JJM, Jal Jeevan Mission, the borewell source should be sustained. Otherwise, it is going to be a big failure. So, how to go about it?
This is why we are this today's webinar is basically to find out the solutions, the challenges, the opportunities to sustain, to make the resource sustainable. This is our challenge also. So simply recharging requires. Hello, you are hearing, Mr. Raghavendra?
Yes, sir. I am on because I switched off my video, so my voice will not be dropped.
Yes, definitely recharge. That depends upon the local geological setup. How much water we are withdrawing, from which aquifer we are withdrawing, and can we substantiate that particular amount of water to the aquifers, back to the aquifers. So these are some challenges, and we are already finding out the solutions. What should be the exact measures? This is the theme of today's webinar. So we are working on that. What should be the process of making the resources sustainable? So this is a complex exercise because this is not groundwater is not like a bucket. You just draw the water and again pour it, because the rainfall pattern is changing. That is a major issue. We are not getting the rainwater as we were getting some 40 or 50 years back. This is due to climate change. So there are multiple issues which we have to resolve. So your question is very, very important. How to make the borewell sustainable? This is a big issue, big challenge, and we are finding the solutions for that. How to make them sustainable? This is the main objective of this webinar.
Sir, can
I continue, sir? Can I continue, sir?
Sir, Raghavendra, sir, can I give answer?
No. Can I continue, sir?
Yeah.
Obviously, sir. Can I give some answer to your question, sir?
So no, can I continue further, sir? My questions?
I do not know. First, let me complete your question. Hello, sir. See, these presentations are very good, and no doubt, we can appreciate. But at the same time, and these are, good old things. It's not any new for me. But another important thing is here, when you ask the question, that is a pertinent question, that is very important question. And the point I wanted to make it, community must be told. Community, you have to take into consideration. Then only it will happen. The best example is your place. Your place is that Bangalore. Bangalore, what is happening? And tomorrow it will happen to another city. And what is happening at Delhi? And community, we didn't tell, we are giving, but we are not told anything. Sir, am I audible, sir? Hello?
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah, simply now we are giving, and we are putting the boreholes. We have laws, groundwater laws. There is no strict groundwater laws, and we are not implementing. We have planning, we have implementation, we have evaluation, everything we have. But the failure is management. And one article has come, why it is failure in Bangalore and Delhi. It is completely management issue. And another important thing is, if you take example of the Chennai is a sea intrusion is taking place. Why it is happening? Because we have drank everything, as Mr. Sinha rightly mentioned. It is not that bucket of water, but we are not pouring anything. Just simply we are drying and we are drinking the water and we are making the khali. So that is. And another, Mr. Haldwar, Dr. Amit mentioned, yes, desalination. Yes, it is happening, sir. If you go to Tamil Nadu, especially Ramanathapuram district, long back they have started the sea water they are taking and they are purifying it. Nearly some 103 villages they are supplying the water. Everything is happening, but at the same time we have to change the attitudes of the people. We must just inform to the people that this is your asset. That ownership is completely lacking. That's why it is happening. If you ask me, even as one of the speakers, he mentioned Rajasthan, and the traditional systems completely collapsed. See, in Rajasthan, yes, the tankas and tankaras and all. Even if you go to Uttar Pradesh, sorry, if you go to Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh, yes, beautiful systems are there. Even if you go to Nepal also, but we are killing. Purposefully we are killing. And the answer is, again, we are talking about sustainability. And this is my agony, and just I wanted to put it. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
So thank you very much. But unfortunately, Dr. Asad Umar sir has to leave the meeting because of some technical issues. But I have seen Mr. Harris for a long time.
Again, I
raising
have
his
joined.
hand.
I'm very
Mr.
sorry
Harris.
for that.
Oh, you are there. You
He has joined.
Nice
Through
to see
phone,
you
I have
again.
joined.
So, Mr. Harris, can you put your question, please?
Sir, yet I am not finished, sir.
Oh, okay, Mr. Raghavendra sir. Yes, you can continue, sir. You can continue.
Sir, why I am putting with some hard fact data is, see, around 4 lakhs to 5 lakhs habitations or villages are with borewell as source, sir. At least now we have to make an immediate priority to assist, not as a catchment, not as a river, not as an area, not as an aquifer. We have to see that all these 3 lakhs should be, because how we have done the last mile as the each house. Similarly, each borewell has to be come in some platform, and it should be assessed how we can recharge it. First, naturally, then reuse it. Now the SBM is taking the grey water management. So once the grey water is treated, at least to that extent, that can be put back into the borewells where we are already made it the source for that village from that borewell, so that that can be reused. Somewhere like that, we have to create a cycle, water cycle. Otherwise, the whole thing will going to be. I think it is very hard fact that infrastructure will be there, that we will not be in a position to use it or harness it or use it for a long period. That is my way of putting it, sir. So simply doing as aquifer catchment area studies or big maps is not going to do it. Now we have to concentrate on each borewell as how we have concentrated on JJM for each village, sir. This is my final words, sir. Thank you, sir.
No, thank you so much, Mr. Raghavenji, for your valuable inputs. Of course, these are important aspects, and in different areas, if you just recollect what I have also mentioned, that somewhere concerted efforts are needed, especially to bring in a sort of localized solution. So that is something nobody is denying that, and of course, communities' involvement is critical. Different technological approaches are critical, and if those are adopted in different way, but one underlying fact will always be there, that we have no option but to adopt certain water conservation, water recharge practices, in order to ensure sustainability of our drinking water sources. Therefore, what you have actually suggested, these are quite pertinent points, and definitely we should take those into considerations. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Asad sir. Is Mr. Harris is there? He was raising a hand for a long time. Mr. Harris, actually, he put a question in the setbacks. Can someone clarify the difference between drinking water security and sustainability? It was his question in the setbacks, asked by Mr. Harris.
So what was so can you just read that question again somehow?
Can someone clarify the difference between drinking water security and sustainability?
Well, I think this is something that in the last slide itself, I have clarified that security and sustainability is something that goes hands in hands. A water secure village can actually help to sustain its sources for a sort of longer duration. So therefore, whatever measures are adopted, it is primarily to ensure a sort of overall security of water, so that water is available in sufficient quantity, which could actually lead to a sort of sustained sources.
I think I can add one thing.
It is closely linked to each other.
Sustainability is a little bit more extra. For example, when we are talking about the drinking water security, so while ensuring that security, we are ensuring that sufficient quantity of water of good quality is available for the drinking needs of the community. When we talk about the sustainability, building upon that parameter, now whatever systems we have created, they should also remain operational. The asset should not be like.
Yeah, definitely, sir. It is more to do with services. It is more to do with
services. So sustainability is basically you can say step 2 of security, because if you don't have any water, what your system will do? But if you have a water and system is dysfunctional, then your sustainability is impacted. Water security is there, but there's no system is there to pump that water and supply that water to the people.
No, definitely. I mean, it has different component. I mean, system sustainability, source sustainability is something that is quite critical. So when I say system sustainability, that means the kind of institutions that is there to manage and maintain it.
Then financial sustainability is also required. It's not only technical sustainability, financial sustainability is also required. There should be money available to maintain
financial sustainability, system sustainability. So, I mean, yeah, these steps are quite interlinked, but equally important.
Any other question?
So thank you for the clarification. Perhaps it has reached to Mr. Harish, and I have not seen any more person there. But if you want to say something to Dr. Dinesh, and during conversation, as you have blocked out or your voice is broken,
so
if you can address to his question, and then we can close the session.
Again, Dr. Dinesh, it was more a kind of observation, and I think partly I had responded to some of his concerns, and
No, Ashad, I could not heard your this talk because your voice was breaking. You please tell us, because in JJM guidelines itself there is an inbuilt parameter for sustainability.
Yes, sir.
So we have to think in that direction, saying that okay, such structures commonly can be adopted by the village level water supply system for recharge, and then enhancing the yield, also protecting the yield. Such a type of observation, if you have in your experience in your project, you can tell us, so that JJM can think to go for some training or something, some guidelines or some document for implementing throughout India. That was my attempt.
No. So thank you so much, sir. I think I had responded to your question, but because of connectivity issue. Anyway, so there are the way I had responded, I'll just repeat it once again. So, I mean, in India, some participant has earlier actually highlighted the fact that there are a number of technologies, there are a number of approaches. So that is important. But what is much more important is identification of a sort of suitable recharge zone. So, and there are different approaches adopted in different regions. And I have also highlighted the fact that now we should actually undertake these three opportunities. One is Jal Shakti Abhiyan, the way it is being implemented across different regions, the way it is actually advocating, especially to adopt a sort of scientific approach using GIS and remote sensing to identify potential zones. That is one. Then another important area from north to western side of the country, in more than 8,000 panchayats where Atal Bhujal Yojana is under implementation. So scientific planning of aquifer management is something that this particular program is advocating. And again, it is all about identification of some good and potential zones. And similarly, especially in the southern part, we do have a lot of examples of adopting a sort of non-conventional as well as conventional measures of recharge. In recent past, I have also seen that aquifer storage and recovery ASR method is something that is being adopted in a big way, has yielded a sort of very positive result. Schemes like Amrit Sarovar in many parts of the Uttar Pradesh, they have yielded a sort of the restoration of surface water bodies has actually yielded a sort of very positive result. So there are a number of examples, sir. So
Yes. We have seen also, but there is no coordination between drinking water structure and then these programs. So I was hunting for such a linkage in your experience.
Again, I'll be happy to share, and I will strongly recommend you that there was a sort of a dedicated source sustainability edition of Jal Jeevan Samvad, the November 2023 issue. I'll be happy to share with you that particular issue. You will find a sort of very good examples within that edition.
No.
Thank you very much.
It's all right. It's all right. I was searching from your experience what you suggest.
Thank you very much. We have taken much time, so it is time to close the session because
Okay,
it is almost 2
thank you very
hours.
much, Sanjeev.
Okay. Ishfaq sir, advisor sir, do you want to put some closing remarks?
I will not take much time because it's already overstretched session. But I'm happy to know that it has evoked a lot of response and a lot of question. And drinking water security is I think, factor is an area which is very, very critical for the success of the Jal Jeevan Mission. My undertaking on the Jal Jeevan Mission future is that now we have to focus on the service delivery. We have to ensure the availability of quality water at the doorstep of the person. I think I am very, very ambitious. It should be 24/7 with adequate pressure. And when we go for that kind of system, even the water wastage will go down. And it has been proven by the research, I think, against the common belief that when you give 20% water, people consume more water. But the actual experience is people shall consume less water because they don't waste water. So for that, we need to ensure availability of good quality water. We have to protect our resources. And Dr. Dinesh has given a very good suggestion. But for that, we need to create institutions right from the top, from the government of India level to the district level. We have to create an interministerial group, then the interdepartmental group at the state level, then the DM levels, the effort should converge. Because for my undertaking on this issue is district magistrate or district collector is the best institution to converge all the efforts at that level. And they can ensure the convergence of all the funds and all the efforts and all the activity. So the scope of district water and sanitation mission can be enhanced if Dr. Dinesh is looking something to amend the guidelines, and we can then incorporate one of the agenda of this, and then we can make the officers from the other department, maybe agriculture department, maybe rural panchayati department, who are involved in the dealing with Amrit Sarovar and the Department of Water Resources and other department, groundwater department, a member of that committee at the district level. There they can plan a district water security plan or the block level water security plan and the village level water security plan. Even then, we need to launch, Dr. Dinesh, strong policy campaign on the misuse of groundwater.
Yeah, that is a major issue.
That is a major. So if we are creating an awareness and creating an impact among the minds of the people, that this water will not be available for you forever if you're wasting it like this. So then they will also be very, very proactive for the regulatory steps which we need, which Mr. Asad has suggested. Because without the consent of the people, we are living in a democracy. We cannot even implement the regulatory steps. It will create reaction from the farmers and for other user groups. So we need to create a strong awareness campaign about the implications and the other issues also. So this is a very, very interesting topic, Mr. Asad has, and I'm thinking of having a full-fledged 4 or 5 days training program here also on source sustainability. I have
it is a very good idea, sir.
Asad, you want to say something?
No, last month of, I think last week of July, most probably we'll be having a sort of a comprehensive program around water conservation and water security. And I think that would be the time, Dr. Dinesh Chand sir, when we'll be sharing specific examples as well. And I would also like to invite people like Dr. Hiralal, who has really done some wonderful work, especially in Bundelkhand region.
When Dr. Hiralal was working, I was a observer to general election in 2019. He was district magistrate Banda.
So, right. Banda has done some wonderful work, sir. So other parts of Bundelkhand actually, we should actually look at some other examples.
So with that, I think we should take bye to everyone. We have holded up everybody for a longer time, and that's why we have now, our number has gone down sharply. So thank you very much. Thank you, Asad Sahab.
Thank you,
everyone. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Sir, advisor sahab, only one request is there. This session is coming only on groundwater. Sustainability. There are a lot of problems on surface water sustainability also. Please have a session in that direction also.
So in case you are willing to chip in, we offer you the same platform to you also. You can also hold this session. You are welcome.
I will try, because a lot of information has to be collected now, as you suggested. I will put it across. There is no problem.
You can be in touch with Mr. Sekia. Then we are
because my state, as from groundwater, we went all the villages to surface water.
You are welcome, Ravindra. You are welcome. Please just wait.
I will do it sometime.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Asad Umar sir and Mr. R.S. Sinha sir for their brilliant presentations. Very informative. I'm pretty sure that all the participants has got some insight on this subject, and I hope to hold such session in future also. And if you have some classic story or some success story, you can contact us for their presentation also. And with these words, I just want to close this session. Thank you very much once again.
Once again, thanks, sir. Thanks for this opportunity. And thanks to all participants for their patience and time. Thank you.
Thank you.